everybody, my name is Kyle3639. Welcome back to another video. Today, in this one, it's going to be another deck profile video, and in this one, it's going to be on my Kragen control or fish deck or shark deck. There are a couple names for this deck. I don't really think you can call it fish deck anymore with the new Power of the Elements stuff coming out in the near future. So I like just to call it the shark deck because you're playing a lot more than just Kragen. But Kragen control does work for this name as well. But yeah, it's been a little bit since I've uploaded to the channel. I just wanted to show you what I've basically been playing this past format. Mostly it's just been this deck. I haven't really been, I played Despia for a little bit, got my national invite with it. But I've been liking this deck a lot recently. I would have taken this deck to nationals if I had money for nationals. So there's that. I would have done this at the extravaganza that happened this past weekend. But again, I had work that weekend, so didn't get to go to that either. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the deck profile itself. I haven't uploaded in a while, so this is the first time I'm doing it in a little bit. So yeah, we're going to start off with the most important card of the deck is 3 Buzzsaw Shark. This card is basically everything you need with this deck. It's basically, its effect is you can target 1 water monster on your field. It's supposed to summon a fish monster from the deck that has the same level, but a different name as that card. Then you're locked into XYZ monsters for the rest of the turn. Very, very, very good card that you really do need to play. You need to see access to this every single game, so you're playing ways to get to that card every single game. Very good card, makes a free rank 4 and stuff like that. Next thing up is we're playing 3 Abyss Sharks. This is one of the newer supports for the deck. Basically what this does is if you control a water monster on the field, you can activate the effect to special summon itself out, and then search a 3, 4, or 5 fish monster from your deck, and then it can also double number XYZ from battle and stuff like that, and also has an effect. It's not an effect, but it has a option where if you're going to use this for a number monster, it can turn itself into a 4 or a 3, as its original level is 5. This card is very amazing. It's a special summon for the deck that also gets you a search. Very good card. You absolutely need to be playing 3 of this card. Absolutely insane for this deck. Gets you access to Buzzsaw if you still haven't normal summoned it and stuff like that. Very much need to play 3 of this card. Next thing up, we're playing 3 Silent Angler. Again, this is just a very generic card. It's basically just a special summon an extender from hand. If you control a water monster, you can just special summon this card, but you are locked from special summoning for your hand for the rest of the turn after that summons itself that way. But it's still a very good card. It does not start a chain either, so it's a very thing that you do need to worry about. Sometimes it does come up. Absolutely need to be playing 3 of it because, again, you always need extenders in this deck specifically. So you do need to play Silent Angler. And then the next extender we have here is 3 Silent Sea Needle. Now, this is a little bit worse of a Silent Angler. So basically, it's the same thing as Silent Angler. If you control a water monster, you can special summon this card from a hand, but this does activate in hand, and does lock you into waters for the turn. So you can't summon something like a Zeus or an F-Zero the same turn you summon the Silent Sea Needle, so you do have to remember that. But it's a good extender. You need to play extenders in this deck, so very good to play in the deck, but also has a graveyard effect where it can banish itself, target 3 water monsters in your graveyard, shuffle them back in the deck. That's it. Doesn't get you a draw or anything. So usually that's not that good, but this deck does play Crooked Cook. So for deck out reasons, Needle does come up for that as well. And that's all the 3 of monsters that we're playing, and I do like to keep them organized, so I'm just going to go backwards there. All right, next up for the monsters, we're playing 2 Shatana. The 10 Spirit Shatana. Again, it's just a generic, if you control no monster, special summon this card. It's a level 4 and it's a water, so it does gel well with the deck, and that's the reason why we are playing it. It can also get target off Buzzsaw, and if you have something like Abyss Shark in hand, getting a free special onto the field, and then activating Abyss Shark to search Buzzsaw Shark is always nice as well. I wouldn't play 3 of this. I think 3 is too much. I think 2 was just the perfect ratio for me as for that. Next thing up is cards that this deck, most players that actually don't play, is 2 Xyz Remora. Now, I'm playing this because I feel like this card is just too good now that it's able to be searched off Abyss Shark as well. So if you don't know what XYZ Remora does, it can detach 2 materials from any XYZ monsters on the field, a special summon himself. That is a summon that does not start a chain. And its effect is if it's a special summon the way, if it's special summoned by that way, it can target 2 level 4 fishes in the deck or in the graveyard, and then special summon themselves out. So basically, it's 2 monster reborns in 1 card that's searchable, and you are making a lot of XYZ, so it does come up to detach as well. Kragen doesn't need to detach for its effect, so you don't really care about detaching from Kragen to get this effect off. I feel like it's just too good not to play. It gets you another rank 4 access. I feel like it's just too good, especially since it is searchable. I can kind of understand players not playing it, just playing more of a control version, but this just helps you bridge the gap from a control into a combo board to make like Toad and F-Zero and stuff like that in your end board. So playing 2 of this I like as well. Next thing up, and I feel like is the worst card in the entire deck, is 2 Bountiful Princess. I do not like this card, but you need to see Buzzsaw in your play, so you absolutely need to play as much ways as you can to Buzzsaw Shark. This is a way to get the Buzzsaw Shark, but I just don't like this card because when you draw Buzzsaw plus the Princess is basically dead. You really don't want to normal summon this. This gets Ash. It doesn't keep a body on field, so you can't do your extenders with something like Silent Angler or Silent Needle or something like that. Again, it is a good card for the deck. I feel like it's the worst card that you're playing in the deck for when it comes to monsters. But it is still very much have to be played in the deck. I was experimenting with not playing Princess, but Buzzsaw is important enough where you do need to play Princess. But I'm only playing it as a 2-of. And if you're playing Princess, you're absolutely playing the Lantern Shark as well, because if you do happen to draw Buzzsaw and Bountiful Princess and don't care about striking a monster on field, you can go Princess, summon Lantern, Lantern, summon Buzzsaw from hand as well. Next one we're playing is the Crystal Shark, another new addition to the deck with that new support that came out in the last set. Basically, what its effect is basically a special summon from hand or graveyard. If it's in your hand or it's in your graveyard, you target a water monster you control, reduce its attack or halve its attack, and then special summon himself out. And it has the same thing as Abyss Shark has, where if it's going to be used for a number monster, you can treat it as a level 3 or a level 4 instead. Again, it's a good enough extender that you do want to play it, but I don't think you need to play it more than one. You have ways to get it to graveyard and stuff like that. You can also special summon it off Buzzsaw. I feel like it's good enough just to keep as a 1-of. And the last card we're playing for the Shark deck is the Right Hand Shark. Again, this makes Crooked Cook, so you are playing it for that reason, but it also has graveyard effect. If you control no monsters, you can just special summon, so it's a free body you can get as well. So yeah, still very much need to play this card. But that is it for the entire monsters for this Shark deck, and I do like to keep this organized. Alright, next thing up we're playing Hand Traps for 3 Ash Blossoms. Again, not very generic hand trap. Hits everything in the meta, so you absolutely do want to play 3 Ash. 3 Effect Veiler. Again, it's not the best, but it is still a hand trap that can basically hit all the decks in the format, so you do play Effect Veiler. The next hand trap is, debatable what you want to play. I am playing 3 DD Crow. Again, this is a flex slot. You can play more extenders if you want to. You can play other hand traps, like Nibiru the Primal Being, or some like Ghost Wonder or Moonlit Chill. The reason why I'm playing DD Crow is because Sharks have a terrible Despia matchup, so I'm playing a lot. I'm playing like cards that do out the Despia matchup, and DD Crow is one of those cards that does do that. But again, Nibiru is great in this spot. But Nibiru with Chitana is kind of risky. Again, this is a flex slot. If you want to play, because I'm playing only I'm playing Dark Roller no more. If you want to play something like Droplet, this can also be a spot for that as well. So that is it for the entire monster lineup. Now on to the spells and traps. And like I did say, I am playing Dark Roller no more. It probably needs to be Droplet. Droplet is better in this deck than Dark Roller is. But I currently don't have Droplet. So Dark Roller is just a nice replacement. In the next format that's coming up, Dark Roller is a very good card. But right now, in the current format we're in, Droplet, I think, is better than Dark Ruler no more. So you probably should be playing Droplet in this spot, but it is perfectly fine. I mean, they basically do the same thing. Their Droplet is a little better, but Dark Ruler, and they do the same thing. And Dark Ruler is cheaper. Next thing up is 2 Pot of Desires. Again, you don't really care about you just not seeing access. You're not playing one ofs that you need to see. Like, yes, right hand shark is important, but you can still do your combos without it and stuff like that. So you are playing Desires just for that draw. I've seen people play Prosperity in the spot instead. That does work, but I feel like the extra deck is tight enough where you don't want to play the Prosperity over Desires. I feel like Desires is just too good not to play. Next thing for one of, we're playing a 1-for-1. Again, just a very good card. You are playing Princess, and that's why I'm only playing 2 Princess, because basically 1-for-1 is your 3rd copy of Princess, and it's very good because this deck does get hit. If you hit its normal summon, it is really hard for them to play through. So, 1-for-1 being able to special summon out something like Princess and then goes into Buzzsaw does help a lot. Next thing up, we are playing Instant Fusion. Now, I am playing 1 Fusion in the extra deck. Basically, Instant Fusion brings out that monster. Once we get to the extra deck, I'll explain more with the Instant Fusion, but we are playing 1 Instant Fusion. We're not playing Ready Fusion because we're not playing Rare Fish, but we are playing an Effect Fusion. So that's why it's only just the Instant Fusion. We're playing Foolish Burial. Again, you're playing something like Right Hand Shark and Crystal Shark in this deck. So sending those 2 to the graveyard does not hurt your plays whatsoever. So getting those effects in graveyard is always nice. This is more access to right hand to make Crooked Cook if you need to, but you also can send Crystal Shark as well. Again, I feel like it's good enough to play in the deck, but I guess you don't really necessarily need to play it, but I think it's good enough to play. And then last spell, we're playing Called by the Grave. It's hand traps. This deck does die to hand traps sometimes, so Called by does come up enough where you do want to play it. But that is it for the spells and traps. Now on to, or the spells. Now on to the traps you're playing. You're playing 3 Infinite Impermanence. I am not playing Gozen Match. Again, I don't really think that's really good in the main deck, especially if you go second. Gozen's basically a dead card. I feel like Gozen is more of a side deck card. I'd rather just be playing more hand traps and playing a Floodgate that if you go second is pretty much dead. So I feel like Gozen is a side deck card, not a main deck card. But yes, that is it for the entire main deck. I am playing a 40 card main. That's just more because you are playing something like Crooked Cook for deck out reasons. You want to play 40, but I kind of don't want to put this at 45 because consistency is key to this deck. So 42 I feel like was the right amount to play. Now on to the extra deck. We are playing that 1 fusion. It is Mud Dragon of the Swamp. Now, sometimes, most of the time, people are playing Rare Fish in the slot instead because you can play Instant Fusion and Ready Fusion. But the reason why I like this, and I actually took this from a South American player that played this deck, is that it prevents targeting to water monsters. So protecting something like the Buzzsaw is absolutely insane from not getting targeted. Yeah, so basically, if you don't know what it does, basically, your opponent cannot target this card or cards with the same attribute as this card, and this card is inherently a water monster, so that's very good. It can change its attribute. There's really no point to do it. It's already the attribute you're most playing anyway, so you are playing this 1 of fusion. But besides that, we're playing 14 extra deck monsters, starting off with 2 Stealth Kragen and then 2 Stealth Kragen spawns. Now, I've seen people play a ratio where they go 1 Stealth Kragen and then the 2 Stealth Kragen spawns. I feel like Stealth Kragen comes up more often where you have to play 2 than just the 1. I always played it at 2. It never came up where I only just wanted the 1. I always wanted to see both of them. Again, you're playing the Kragen spawns because once Kragen is destroyed and it has materials, it can summon the spawns from the extra deck, and then the spawns can bring back Kragen as well. Again, very, very, very good card. Basically, just a Drynant. It also turns everything into water monsters. That's why people are playing Gozen in this deck as well, because of that Kragen Gozen match is basically just the lock there, unless they're playing a water deck. But yeah, very, very good. Absolutely need to play. I feel like playing 1 is I feel like 2 is the perfect amount for Kragen. And then next thing up, we're playing 2 Bahama Shark. And of course, this is only to summon the one and only Totally awesome. Absolutely, Toad is amazing. There's a reason why Spite is going to be seeing play next format is because Toad is absolutely insane. But In this deck specifically, it also is very good because you're recurring like something like Buzzsaw Shot from your graveyard, getting the Omni Negates as well is also insane. Toad is absolutely insane. If you have this in graveyard with something like the Stealth Kraken spawns, you can attach this to the spawns and keep getting recursions that way. You have ways to shuffle it back into the deck, so something like Sea Nettle can shuffle these cards back, and then you can summon more Toads as well. Toad is a very good card, and I feel like that's the reason why you want to play Sharks right now, is because you can play Toad in this as well. Very, very important. If they ever hit Toad, this deck is just not playable. So this card is very, very important to this deck. And then next thing up for our XYZs, we're playing one Abyss Dweller. Again, graveyards do matter, so playing the one of Abyss Dweller, especially in this deck because it also gains the attack, so going for OTKs with a Dweller is also nice as well. Does come up, you do want to play this card. This card is just way too good not to play, so it's in the extra deck for that reason. And then next thing up, we're playing F0 and then F0 Utopic Future Draco. Again, you're not making this as much in this deck because of most of the time you are getting locked with something, either a Sea Nettle or an Abyss Shark, but there are ways to not get locked and still make this. That's why you're playing the Remoras. This card is just very good. Being an Omni or a Monster Negate that also Snatch Steals them is very, very good. The effect that it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects does come up sometimes, and you do have to remember that exists. This card is just too good not to play. I can see some players not playing it because, again, you are getting waterlocked a lot more than you used to do, but I feel like it's just too good not to play. Next thing up, we are playing that Crooked Cook still. It's just too good not to play. I've considered not playing it because the deck can still do stuff without it. But sometimes you just get in that situation where you just don't draw a good hand, but you have access to Cook, so you just summon Cook for that reason. I was versing a Despia player, being ahead in game. I won game 1. Game 2, he was like on Dark Ruler and Droplet shenanigans. So, you know, having the Crooked Cook just to sit there while I was ahead on a game just forced him to basically either force the tie or I win the game, the match entirely. Again, it's the Mystic Mine for the deck. It's not going to get hit. Again, I don't think you should treat this as a win con because, I don't know, time does exist. If time doesn't exist, then absolutely. But time does exist, and if you're low on life points, then this is basically doing nothing for you. And I feel like that's why you can't treat it as a win con, because time does exist. So you do have to remember that as well. And then the last two cards for the extra deck is double Divine Arsenal 8A Zeus. Again, just way too good not to play. Zeus, I think, you know, of course, a lot of people do just play the one of. You really only need to play one, but I've had the situations where I'm playing double Zeus, and there's really nothing else I would want to put in this spot. Maybe like a rank 5 water monster you can put in this spot, but again, really nothing I would like in that spot. I would just rather have that double Zeus because it does come up sometimes, and you're playing so many XYZ monsters in this deck. Alright, that's it for the entire deck. Now for the side deck. Again, the side deck can be whatever you want it to be, so I'm not going to show off my side deck. But one thing I should mention, I feel like you should be playing the Crossout Designator plus the D Barrier. I feel like this is just too good because, again, you're playing 14 XYZ monsters. D Barrier is going to hit you, so playing the Crossout and D Barrier in the side is, I think, mandatory in this deck. Crossout also just hits hand traps, and you're playing a lot of hand traps in this deck, but specifically D Barrier does kill this deck, so you do want to side in the Crossout and D Barriers for the matchups for like game 2, game 3, because everyone's on D Barrier in their side deck right now, and that probably won't change for the next format because Terra Elements play a shit ton of fusions. If you call XYZ against Splight, that's really going to hurt them. So I feel like this is a mandatory thing you have to put in your side deck. But besides that, you don't really, the side deck can be whatever the hell you want it to be. I feel like Red Reboot is also another card you probably should be playing in there as well. I am playing that one of Red Reboot, but again, it's just up to your preference. But that is it for the entire video. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. I know I haven't done this in a while. That's because I kind of don't really like this format right now. But hopefully I'll be coming back more because I am more excited for the next format. I'm really excited for Poe. I can't wait for that to come out. There's so many decks. Terra Elements sounds so fun. Splight is still just a very good deck that I've been interested in. I feel like I'm gonna love the next format, but this format I just did not like. I got my national invite in this format, but I just did not like this format. Again, if I like I told you at the beginning, if I did go to Nationals, I would have brought in Sharks because I didn't want to play any other deck. But yeah, that is it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.